Good morning. It has been a year since we've done a morning show. It was all about to change. We do shows tomorrow morning. We're not going to do it tomorrow night. Or if we do shows tomorrow, or we do shows in the morning, we'll do it for the second half. So that's probably how it's going to be throughout. When I do shows like this, if I do shows in the morning, then we'll do the second half, or we'll do the second half at the nighttime. But it depends. But nothing has changed in the world of bullying. We'll get to that story in a second, but first, some very great news here in Corpus Christi. CCISD and Flower Bluff passed state intruder checks. This came 4 months after the horrible massacre in Uvalde. It was all to when people would start taking this very seriously and start looking through doors. It's not exactly what happened, so here's Taylor Alanis.
To Friday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Pat Simon. In the days and weeks after the Uvalde school massacre, concerns were raised about safety and security measures in our children's public schools. The Texas Education Agency put schools on notice to make changes before the start of the new school year. Last month, random audits began across the state to see if those changes not only were made, but are being enforced. Taylor Alanis is with us right now. Taylor, some of our area schools have gone through what are being called intruder audits. So which schools were tested and what was their grade?
Pat, we got information on those audits from two districts, Flower Bluff and CCISD, both receiving a perfect score. Last month, the Texas School Safety Center and the Texas Education Agency started checking school buildings throughout the state to see if they are intruder-proof. Their goal is to inspect 100% of school districts and 75% of campuses across Texas by the end of the school year. Flower Bluff ISD says this week they received one of those random intruder visits, and after trying to enter the campus, the intruder failed to get in. The inspector also checked FBISD's records of weekly door sweeps.
We check the doors every single day. The state auditor says that we got to check them once a week. That's not enough. We check them every single day.
Corpus Christi ISD had 6 of their campuses checked, and each one, the intruder could not get into the building. Chief Warnicki says if something is found wanting, a work order is put in. Work orders having to do with security are prioritized. Chief Warnicki says so far 1,300 work orders have been completed since the school year started. Now, those campuses include Smith Elementary, Galvan Elementary, Grant Middle School, Martin Middle School, and Crockett Elementary. And the 6th campus was the Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program. We also checked some other area districts to see how their inspections went. We are still waiting to hear back, but we'll bring you those updates as we get them. Taylor Alanis, Chris 6 News.
That's good. And schools, districts and other schools need to be doing the same thing. Like the chief said, it shouldn't be just once a week, it should be every day. That's what Flower Bluff needs to start doing every day. Can't just be like, oh, once a week because this and this. That's a good suggestion. A very good suggestion. We have not done COVID ever since, so let's just catch you up on COVID. Even though Greg Abbott said the pandemic is over. Oasis County has 48 new cases, 2 new deaths here in Seminole County. Over 4,500 total cases, new cases in Texas, with 30 new deaths. Since yesterday, there's been 48 new cases, and in the 7-day average, there's been 18. As per hospitalizations, since October 8th, almost 22,000 people have been hospitalized, over 2,700 people in ICU. Vaccination rates since the 5th, 75.8% of the population had at least one dose, and million have been fully vaccinated, 63.1%. And schools, they're still in stage 2, which is mitigation. Since the 7th, none. 6, none. One independent student, independent school student has been reported, and high school students had at least one, which is good. So, I guess what we said before: masks, social distancing, hand washing, vaccinations. Quarantine yourself 5 days. After the 5th day, get tested. Do not leave quarantine. Do not leave quarantine when you're supposed to be quarantined. If your child has a medical condition, you are exempt. If you're religious, you are exempt from laws. However, if you're not vaccinated, you still need to wear a mask to protect yourself. Unless you have a medical condition or you're exempt from religion for religious reasons. So let's try to understand it as we get all vaccinated. We can get to 100%. Just like one dose is enough, so I'll say one dose. No, you gotta be vaccinated all the way or boosted. 2 vaccines or boosted. That's the way it should be. Coming up next, another case of bullying, this time from a middle school student. We'll give you the very latest. Plus more updates on Uvalde as the school board decides on the resignation of the superintendent. Stay with us. Every time we hear bullying stories on the news, it's always like this. Child gets unconscious. Parents went to the school does nothing. The question is, why do parents claim the school does nothing when the statements say, we take bullying very seriously? We'll take this case as I got a notification after 4 o'clock yesterday. A 6-year-old has been brutally beaten and unconscious, and she went to the school, but they did nothing. So, what's happening now? Take a look.
A 6th grade boy was allegedly knocked unconscious after an assault by one of his own classmates, and his family says the school is doing nothing to protect him.
Caitlin Ross reports that it happened at Stephenson Middle School. Caitlin, these kinds of stories just break my heart. And his mom told you this wasn't even the first time?
Exactly. Demi Oche told me she's been going to the school all year to try and get her son help. She's written emails, had meetings with the principal, but she says the bullying won't stop. It all came to a head last week when she had to take her son to the ER herself because she says the school didn't call 911. Demi Oche has a list of the ways she says Stevenson Middle School has failed her son. She says teachers won't change his class schedule to separate him from bullies. And she says they didn't call for help when he got knocked out.
Told us that our son was involved in an assault and that he was beaten until he was unconscious, and if we could just come to the school and pick him up.
She says she's asked the school dozens of times for help.
Our son has been bullied, coming home complaining about being assaulted at school.
She says a lot of the bullying at school is about her son's identity. He's adopted and white. Her family is black.
His mom don't love him. He don't know who his dad is. His mom dropped him off at my house. His daddy is the milkman. And it's all because he's a white boy with black parents.
When Demi didn't get answers from the school, she hired attorney Raymond Humphrey to help her.
Since then, we've asked for reports, videos, photographs, files, just to find out what's going on, and we haven't got answers yet.
He went to the school board to try and find out why the kids accused in the attack have not been held accountable.
We have a mom who needs to know what happened to her son. Once she is told that the child was rendered unconscious, it's unbelievable that the child is not have received medical attention.
In a statement, a spokesperson for the DeKalb County School District told me while they don't comment on potential litigation, the school should follow the consequences outlined in the student handbook.
You can't make sense of it. You can't make sense of it at all. And I just pray that this is not what our school system is becoming.
And when she took her son to the ER, he was diagnosed with a concussion. She's since pulled him out of school, and she says he's terrified to go back. They're looking at other education options for him until they get some guarantees from the school about his safety.
Caitlin, so heartbreaking. Parents, please talk to your kids about bullying. Thank you for that report.
Always, as parents, I think you need to talk to your kids. If your child's being bullied, you need to talk to them. That's why it's one about the whole goal throughout the show is to stop bullying and speak up. Inspired from Cartoon Network, one of my favorite cartoon networks. Here's what needs to happen here. If your child is being bullied, talk to them. If you believe the school has done nothing, keep trying. Keep trying. Keep sending emails out to the district saying, hey, my child's being bullied all year. You've not done anything. Hey, this and this. Keep fighting this fight. If you got to hire an attorney, okay. It's like the school has done nothing. And when schools don't do anything, when all schools say we haven't done, when parents say the school has done nothing, my suggestion is that they sweep it under the carpet. It's like we shove it to the side and say we don't care. And bullying has been happening all over the news, and school districts are probably under attack because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Just 5 hours ago in the Boston Globe, did BPS drop the ball on bullying again? It happened at London NK School. It's a mystery. According to State Representative Ed Kupner, who represents the West Boxman, knows whose children who attended the school, they started reporting a spike in bullying cases and violent incidents late last year, along with concerns about Ward's response. Kupner said the district was alerted to the concerns in the London school last year. Skipper declined to say whether the district has investigated them, and efforts to reach Ward were unsuccessful. Although he was described as on leave from BPS, and a spokesman said he was still employed by the district. Emails to his district email address bounced back. But it's a mystery for parents. It's a mystery for parents. For 12 years, Ward was in charge of the well-regarded school's upper grades. Then, September 27th, the parents received a cryptic email that he was on leave. So now the state gets involved in saying, now Stacy get involved in saying this and this and that. This needs to happen, that needs to happen. What schools need to be doing is train. If they hire new principals and new staff members and teachers, they need to be trained on how to deal with this. So that this doesn't happen again. And 4 weeks ago from NBC 12, a mom pulls her daughter from school, claims bullying incidents weren't taken seriously. A Petersburg mom didn't hesitate to pull her daughter out of a Guardian Christian Academy when she found out bullying incidents following her daughter weren't taken seriously by the administration. Jackson said she couldn't believe what she heard her 9-year-old daughter Maddie told her about her day at school. Her daughter's first week was Maddie's first week of 5th grade at a new school that sits on the campus of Southside Church, Chesterfield. It's where her mom said she was being bullied by a group of girls in her class. In one alleged incident, she said a student threw a shoe at Maddie during lunch where she ate alone. She heard another student behind her say, why did you do that? And Electra Willie, goes, "It barely hit her. It was a joke." And assault is any type of bullying. All these things that have been going on, this is not a joke. My daughter isn't a joke. But when it went into it, Jackson then went to the principal. She said she didn't know about she didn't have any sense of sympathy. She said she'd just been known for these. She's known these girls for over 5 years, and it's not their character. In a statement to NBC 12, Garden Christian Academy said there are protocols they follow under the bullying prevention mitigation standards, which include specifying responses to bullying situations and providing biblical-based, adult-led mentoring opportunities for students involved in bullying. But Jackson says it didn't happen. On September 5th, she sent a letter to the school detailing what happened and asked if she could pick up her daughter's belongings. It wasn't until Jackson sent a follow-up email on the school on September 8th, copied NBC 12 on the email that the school responded with a date and time Jackson could grab Maddie's things. Jackson said Maddie was able to transition smoothly into Petersburg Public Schools, but she worries other students will become a target of bullying at CGA. Jackson and her husband are now exploring if they can get any type of refund for the fees they've already paid, but have yet to hear back from the school. So here's the thing here. They copied and pasted the statement from that they sent to NBC 12. They emailed the school. She talked to the school principal. They didn't do anything, and so September 8th, it was a follow-up email saying this and this. Only with the date and time, not handling this. So it's like, the bottom line here is this needs to stop, period. Bullying needs to stop. We're back in a moment with more of our show, especially updates from Uvalde. Stay with us. Just 5 days ago, a Callan student was placed in ISS for alleged dress code violation. A student's hair is cultural. This was 5 days ago, so let's take a look at this. Then we'll update you on Uvalde.
Nice one.
I hate to believe this dress code, but dress code is back in the news.
Calallen, where a high school student there has spent the last couple of days in school suspension for what district officials say was breaking dress code.
Our Alexis Green spoke with the student's mother, who says that her son's long hair is a part of his Native American tribe's tradition. She joins us here now with more. Alexis?
Thank you. Yes, in my hand is a stack of the correspondence between the parent and Calallen High School, where they gave them notice that if the hair wasn't cut, he would face in-school suspension. Also in my hand is a letter from the Sequemis tribe verifying the young man's citizenship and asking the district to withdraw their demand for him to cut his hair, which in their culture is considered to be sacred. Kristen Vanna tells 3 News her family moved from Washington State last year, and her 16-year-old son, who to some may not appear Native American, belongs to the Sequemis tribe there.
We came down last year, we met with the school and enrolled him, and this year he decided to grow out his braid to honor his culture.
That's when Vanna said her son started getting warnings at school that he was out of dress code, and he had a deadline to cut his hair if he wanted to avoid in-school suspension. Vanna emailed the assistant principal offering to provide a copy of Phoenix's certificate of enrollment in the tribe.
But the tribal certificate wasn't exactly enough.
Vanna went back to the tribe asking for advice and more proof of Phoenix's affiliation. The tribe sent a letter to the school detailing how demanding Phoenix to cut his hair violates the American Indian Religious Freedom Act, and the council found the school's request unnecessary and highly offensive.
It took some time, but they put him in school suspension for the last 2 days. He spent all day on Monday and Tuesday in school suspension.
We reached out to Calallen ISD for comment, and they sent the following statement, which outlines their dress code policy on grooming, hygiene, and safety hazards.
For students who have religious or cultural affection that does not align with the dress code, we only ask that the family provide affiliation documentation. We strive to honor their backgrounds and diversity of our cultures and our community. In the case in question, once the family provided the information requested, an exception was immediately granted.
For students who have a religious or cultural affiliation that does not align with dress code, we only ask that the family provide affiliation documentation. We strive to honor their backgrounds and the diversity of cultures in our community. In the case in question, once the family provided the information requested, an exception was immediately granted.
Just really hope that there are ways to fix the policies to make it a little easier for kids to get an education, because he was going to be kicked out over this, you know? It seems so strange over a haircut, and I know they didn't want distractions in class, but I feel like in the year 2022, what we look like is less important as far as getting an education, getting a job.
Phoenix is no longer in ISS and is planning to grow out his hair long enough for a braid that is significant to him and his tribe. Leslie, Mike.
All right, thank you for that, Lexus.
So yeah, I mean, if it's a religious thing or from the Indian thing, if it's traditional, so yeah, I get it. There's no excuse about that. But you still gotta provide documentation. That's basically the whole key here. It's all like, let's face the whole key. You just gotta provide documentation and say, well, this and this. But let's get you up to speed on Uvalde here. The school board met yesterday to decide on the superintendent's retirement. They will consider to take possible action regarding Superintendent Hal Harrell's retirement and transition. Now remember, this was months after Uvalde. So what you really have here is someone who just says, I mean, this was a full video, so we had the full video, and we're probably going to play it for you tomorrow. But he should have been retired. I feel like this is very similar to Oxford. Yeah, if you compare this to Oxford, the superintendent retired this because he didn't want to be part of this. Now Ethan Crumb must remain in adult jail along with his parents, because he is charged as an adult. And the October trial has been postponed and not rescheduled. Probably because all the evidence, because all the mountain piles of evidence like this thick, filled with text messages, filled with affairs, DoorDash, whatever. Now in Oxford Township, Michigan, Ammo Dog is start work at Oxford High. I mean, they're going to have an ammunition detection dog. They're getting ready to start work at Oxford High. Daisy, a 2-year-old chocolate Labrador retriever, arrived in Oakland County Thursday evening after a flight from Texas, where she had a handler and retrieved a police officer received training. They'll explore school over the weekend and have her first day on duty, which was yesterday. The report said her work will include sniffing lockers, bags, and other items in search of guns and ammunition. In addition to the Ammo Dog, nearly a year after a deadly mass shooting, that's what happened. This dog came out nearly a year. So that's really some great news to happen on this. And last week from the Detroit News, a security guard accidentally discharged his weapon in a bathroom last Monday. Now, according to the Patch, in the wake of that Oxford school shooting, the county police districts talk about increasing safety, more than $200 million of the tax dollars. It's basically because of what's going on. They feel like we're not doing anything enough. This and that's not enough, so we need to do more. What I have to say here, do what you think is right. Do what you think is right. If it feels like what you need to start doing is putting out school safety, then that's probably your choice to do so. But and like taxpayers are hurting. You've got more money in there, that's hurting the taxpayers. Public's suffering for it. And the taxpayers are hurting. The pressure on school districts is it causes stuff like this to not happen. But the question I have is, how do you know if your school is safe? If we look at, here's the thing, if we look at the schools from years ago, from Columbine, nothing happened. Police weren't involved. There was no additional officers. We look at Virginia Tech. It was probably not the safest. But if we were to look at Uvalde, they failed. Uvalde failed. Going back to other updates on Uvalde, there's now an update from the AP News, which means Uvalde school chief plans to resign after the community outrage. Uvalde school district superintendent announced Monday he plans to resign by the end of the academic year following months of community outrage over the handling of the United States' deadliest shooting in nearly a decade. My heart was broken May 24th. The school board voted anonymously Monday morning to begin the search for Harriel's successor. Harriel, law enforcement, the school board, and other school officials have faced heavy criticism over their actions during the massacre of 19 fourth graders and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School. Officers allowed the shooter to remain inside the classroom for more than 70 minutes. But Texas lawmakers issued a damning report this summer that found systematic failures and egregiously poor decision-making by both police and school officials. And Harriel's resignation statement was posted on the wife's Facebook page because he does not have an account. So let's take a look at that Facebook page. It's not available. Going to Uvalde report during the 76 officers, but poor decisions were made. And this Facebook was first reported by CNN, was initially made public on Monday, but was no longer accessible a few hours later. The board did not respond to requests for a copy of the statement, but the superintendent's announcement comes weeks after district officials suspended the entire school police force. So the superintendent's like, okay, the police force is going to be suspended? That means I'm out too. Well, we had a lawsuit at hand. A first federal lawsuit throughout in years. First federal lawsuit in Uvalde. And now he's saying, well, if the police are going to resign, are going to be suspended, then I'm going to have to retire. In July, the Uvalde School Board called a special meeting to hear from parents. At that meeting, Harriel apologized for previously being too formal and not letting the victims' families say their piece. Just a day later, District 5 recently hired school police officer who'd been a Texas State Trooper at the scene at Robb Elementary. So, what I have to say here is that you're making a big mistake. You've had lawsuits. I mean, before we go to break, here's that lawsuit. That was 2 weeks ago. And now they're saying, and now you looked at now looking at that lawsuit, it's all like, I don't care about the lawsuit. I'm leaving. Similar to Oxford. Very similar to Oxford. I'll be back in a moment. Next week is homecoming week. Hope you guys are excited to get those new dresses out there for that great homecoming dance. But what if you realize that as a woman, you go into as a girl, as a student, as a female student, if you went in there having a great time and all of a sudden a female administrator looks at you up and down saying, you're out of dress code, leave. That's what happened on September 12th. West Bend School Board discusses dress code violations following those student complaints. A majority of students who complained were girls who were labeled eliminating enforcement double standard. Adrian, a senior at West Bend High School, questioned the enforcement of the dress code by the administration's claims to do a quote-unquote safety reasons. Female students spoke out about colleges don't have any dress codes. The clothes we choose to wear are some of the more appropriate things that are currently trending and sold in stores. Female students claim this policy is clearly unfair. The school administration followed up the decision acknowledging the dress code violation begins with a phone call home to the parents to the student changing different clothes. Superintendent Jen Wimmer said the dress code is covered under policy 443.1 and that blankets the entire district. The student handbooks further includes the policy language. There's been a lot of student feedback going into Wimmer. There are kids who have trouble navigating those expectations with the wiggle room with changing fashions. Wimmer said the first meeting with the student council is tomorrow and she'll provide an update with the continued communication. That's probably never happened. Now let's turn back to what happened on Sunday. On Sunday, at a homecoming dance. Wait a minute. Dozens of Utah's girls who were not allowed to their homecoming dance because of dress code violations in September got a second chance to dance October 8th. The American Leadership Academy's homecoming dance on September 24th made headlines after students reported multiple girls were either not allowed into or were kicked out of the charter school's homecoming dance over various dress code violations. So let's take a look at the original article and then we'll update you what happened. There was a protest that happened just a few weeks ago. They gathered outside the American Leadership Academy School charter in Utah at the weekend after their homecoming dance, where students, nearly 60 girls, were kicked out because of their dresses, some of which were pre-approved by the school administration. The school later refuted the claims. I was mad that I got kicked out of the dance, but I felt sad and I felt bad for the other girls that got kicked out. They had their dresses pre-approved by the administration, but when they showed up, they were told that because their body was not the same as the picture of the model, they were not allowed to wear that dress. Students stood outside of school with signs Monday morning, many saying the administration crossed the line by enforcing dress code. They say the girls who weren't allowed inside were being judged based on their bodies. That made a lot of girls cry. A lot. The administration issued a letter noting that it sincerely apologized for any students that came away to the dance feeling less enough. Later, the letter also notes that the administration investigated allegations that between 60 and 90 girls have been turned away. That there was an inconsistent application of the dress code as students with a certain body types have been targeted. The school officials watched the Spanish Legislative Dan says part of the investigation, according to the statement, the school claims far fewer students were turned away for what they were wearing. 14 students were turned away. The school also stated that the footage showed the dress code was enforced equally for each student, and certain body types weren't targeted. Video evidence shows that one student was moved for the dance removed from one dance dress code violations by the dress code monitors once they had gained access to the dance. According to the statement, one student had worn a jacket as part of the outfit. The school admitted shortcomings in the dress code monitoring process. According to ALA, a parent said monitors need to be kinder when talking about such sensitive issues as body and dress. So that's just really what happened. And as an update, they've been invited to dance because of what happened. And a lot of them organized the 2.0 dance. That's good. Girls need to be heard. And again, like I said before, when I did dress code shows, I basically said that just follow the dress code. But now that I look at this, some dress codes discriminate all females. That's key here. And if I saw a female being judged by a dress code monitor, I would step in and say, hey, that you're discriminating a woman. That's not your job. Your job is to tell her, is to just say, you're out of dress code, go change this and this. That's basically the bottom line here. And that's all of his edition of Give Me a Break Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow for Give Me a Break Wednesday. And for all of us here at Give Me a Break and YouTube, I hope you have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.